Hey everyone, it's Chris Loud. In this video, I'm building an intuitive mixed media abstract painting from texture. I started by fixing paper, cardboard, and paper towel onto a cradled wood panel, and then added an initial layer of paint over everything and responded to what started showing up on the surface. So you can see that I sprayed a piece of cardboard with some water on both sides, and that was just to let it sit and loosen up the glue because I wanted to get to the ribbing that's kind of in the middle of that cardboard. And I'm just really kind of starting out with some texture, like I said, putting down some crumpled up newsprint, and I really don't have any plan going on at this point. I'm not trying to create a finished composition yet. I'm mostly trying to create raised areas and edges and some surface variation that I can respond to once the paint starts going down. I'm also using a used shop towel here that I had wiped up some paint with, and a little of that paint was a little too thick, so I ended up ripping some of that off. I didn't quite want it that raised. And this part can be really loose. We're just building visual information onto the surface. Some texture, some structure, maybe a few shapes that may or may not become important later. I'm using matte gel medium to put this down. And you can see now I'm just ripping the ends or the sides of that cardboard to get to the ribbing in the middle. And I will use a roller, a brayer, to mat down that cardboard. It'll still have that texture, but it just won't be quite as raised up. I want to make sure that it's able to stick to the wood panel. Normally I will put down some parchment paper over top of this and then use the brayer. I was a little aggressive and just went right in with the brayer, and that's totally fine. You just have to clean the brayer with some of the matte gel medium afterwards. And then occasionally, and you'll see that here in just a minute, the paper or cardboard will sometimes roll up onto the brayer, but you just peel it off and stick it back down. So, but parchment paper is a great thing to put down first over top of whatever you're using the brayer on, and that will help keep the brayer clean and give you a little kind of a smooth surface. So you can see there that cardboard is rolled right up onto the brayer. And before we get too far in, I want to say a quick thank you to Judy, Kathleen, Hunter, Carol, Linda, and Richard for the recent coffee and super thanks donations. I really appreciate it. That support genuinely helps keep these videos going. So this process is somewhat similar to another video I made called The Power of Three, where I created expressive abstract art with muted colors and texture. And this one follows a similar kind of build and response approach, but I'm not focused on threes here. I'll leave a link to that previous video in the description if you'd like to check that out after this one. So I like starting with texture because it gives the paint something to interact with. Flat surfaces is one thing, but a textured surface changes how the paint moves and catches and kind of skips and settles, and how it really reveals some edges. So even before I know where the painting is going, the surface is already creating little moments of interest for me to respond to. And for this painting, I use paper, cardboard, and a paper towel, but those obviously aren't the only things we can use to create texture. They're just the materials I happen to use here. You could also use things like tissue paper or fabric scraps or old book pages, newspaper like I've got going here. You can see that I put down some bubble wrap and kind of pressed into that. Gives a visual texture, but it also will give a slight texture on the surface, physical texture on the surface. But you can use dried acrylic skins and string. I've used mesh before, packing materials, and even pieces of old paintings. And you don't have to use collage materials. There are also texture mediums like modeling paste and heavy gel medium, crackle paste, fiber paste, a whole wide range of different things you can use to make that texture. And once the collage materials were down, I added an initial layer of paint over the surface. That first layer is really important because it helps unify everything a little bit more. So for the initial base layer, I used Burnt Sienna, Naples Yellow, and a little Mars Black. And I like this combination because it gives the surface a warm, earthy starting point. But the Mars Black kind of knocks it back a bit and keeps it from feeling too bright right away. And before that, the paper and cardboard and paper towel can feel like separate pieces, just sitting on top of a panel. But once paint goes over everything, they start to feel like they belong to the same surface. And that first layer also helps me see the texture more clearly. Raised areas catch paint differently, and edges begin to show up. Some areas start to suggest shapes, and other areas naturally fade into the background. So at this stage, I'm not trying to force anything too much. I'm just trying to get the surface activated and see what it gives me. And after that first layer, the real process becomes responding. I'm looking at the surface and asking, what do I notice? What wants to come forward? Where is there movement, and where is there contrast? Where does the composition feel too empty or maybe too heavy? And that's the technique here. It's not about having everything figured out before we begin. It's about building enough texture and visual information that we have something to respond to. And honestly, that's one of my favorite ways to work. It keeps the process open and kind of playful. Instead of controlling every part of the painting, we're having that conversation with the surface. And sometimes the surface gives us something interesting, and sometimes it gives us something kind of weird. And sometimes those are, can be the same thing. And texture can create depth before we even add a lot of detail. And the raised areas catch lighter paint. Edges create little shadows, and layers of material create separation between different parts of the painting. So instead of painting every bit of depth with careful shading, some of that depth is already built into the panel. And you will see coming up here shortly that it kind of skips ahead a little bit. You'll see that I've got some dots in there and some other dark spots that I kind of jumped ahead just slightly. But I used some water-based spray paint. I'll show you when those come up. And one thing I really like about this kind of mixed media technique is that the materials are simple, but the surface can become really interesting. We don't need expensive or unusual supplies to create texture. We can use things around the room, paper scraps and cardboard, and those can become really a vital part of that painting and that piece. And because those materials already have their own edges and personalities, they can help us make decisions we might not have made on our own. So I'm really just kind of looking at some of these areas and finding some areas of interest and kind of carving those out. I used a Caran d'Ache wax pastel to create those white lines, just to try and find some shapes in there that I found interesting. And now I'm just kind of going back and creating a little bit of shading in those. And even though this painting is intuitive, I'm still thinking about structure. I'm thinking about where the visual weight sits and how the eye moves through the painting. Where I need contrast and where I need that calmer space. And that's where you can see I've kind of carved those shapes out and then added that negative space, that almost teal negative space around that. The biggest problem that I was having with that negative space and those shapes is that I had two separations between all of the shapes, that negative space kind of running through. So you'll see when I add that those dots and some other shapes, which I just kind of just wiped some of the that negative space, the paint in there, away to create those dark shapes. That helped kind of connect the whole piece and connect all those shapes. And we can build these paintings as we go, and when we start with texture, we often discover shapes and relationships that feel more unexpected than anything we might have planned ahead of time. This kind of painting, I think, helps us practice a lot of things at once. It helps us practice composition because we're responding to shapes and visual weight. It helps us practice value contrast because texture becomes much stronger when we decide where to place lights and darks. And it helps us practice layering, obviously, because each decision builds on the one before it. So you can see that I put the white dots and those other dark shapes, and that helps kind of connect those pieces and create a little bit more harmony between all those shapes. And I did extend those white dots over the edge just for fun. I thought that would look kind of cool, so I showed that there at the beginning. But maybe most importantly, this helps us practice noticing possibilities. Instead of needing a perfect idea, we can start with simple materials. We can build a textured surface and ask, what can this become? And that's really a useful creative habit to develop. I'm going to show you at the end, once I have this painting done here, I'm going to go ahead and varnish it. And I typically put varnish in a cup and use a sponge brush. Now, you'll see a lot of artists that say to not use a sponge brush because it can create bubbles. I personally have never had that happen and had that issue. But I know a lot of people tell you not to do that. I see a lot of artists that use a sponge like this. I've seen other artists that use even a sponge for waxing a car, and they have great success with that. I did try that. I wasn't a huge fan of that. So I still continue to softly use these sponge brushes. But I would do your own research on that and maybe do some tests to make sure that works for you. But I enjoy using this to varnish. And I'm just going to give this one little coat of varnish here. And I'll show you at the end some close-ups and the final pieces in different orientations as well. The orientation I painted in was my favorite orientation, and some of you might have seen that I put a post asking for which orientation you like best, and I was surprised that one of the more horizontal orientations was the favorite there. But after looking at that, that orientation really has grown on me. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more abstract painting and art demos like this, feel free to subscribe. And as always, if you have any questions or thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. So you can see some of the underpainting in those close-ups, those warm colors kind of peeking through. And that's really what I wanted to have. So this orientation here was the one that got overwhelmingly voted the favorite. So thank you so much for watching, and keep on painting.